This is Isaac Smolden, the voice of the Anchorage Wolverines live broadcast. The playoffs are set. The first round starts this Friday at 7 o'clock. Let's take a look at the Wolverines' first round opponent. The Anchorage Wolverines will be playing the Minnesota Wilderness in the 2024 Robertson Cup Playoffs. Against the Wilderness this season, they had a record of 2-3-1. The Wilderness winning 3 games in regulation against the Wolverines. On the season, though, both teams in very different positions. Anchorage finishes their season with a franchise record of 39-14 and 785 points in the Midwest Division standings. A goal differential of 64 to the good. Minnesota sneaking into 4th place just this last weekend. 30-25 and 5 for 65 points. Their goal differential -13. In the last 10 games, both teams, again, very different positions. Anchorage has only lost 1 game in regulation in their last 10 games against the Fairbanks Ice Dogs last weekend, 6-1-3 in their last 10 of the regular season. Minnesota, 4-5-1 in their last 10, but a little bit of momentum coming into the first round. Last weekend, they clinch that final berth in the Midwest Division. Anchorage losing both games to Fairbanks in their final weekend of the regular season. Taking a look at some of the players in this game, Anchorage has 2 players with a point per game average and 1 who is 1 point back of a point per game average at the end of the regular season. Fedya Nikolenya, 27 goals, 37 assists for 64 points. He's the leader on the Wolverines in points. Bryce Monray not too far behind, 21 goals, 41 assists for 62 points. And Oliver Salo, 17 goals, 38 assists for 55 points in his 56 games played. There will be a familiar face in the Minnesota Wilderness lineup that the Wolverines have plenty of experience with. Nick Blood is with the Minnesota Wilderness now after getting traded from Fairbanks. He has 16 goals, 22 assists, and 38 points in his age-out season. Most likely goalies for both teams, projections have Adam Prokop starting for the Minnesota Wilderness, 9-7-1 in his games played with Minnesota, a 2.18 goals against average and a 9.25 save percentage. Liam Bierman tied for the most wins in the NAHL season this year. 27-9-3 is his record, 2.37 goals against average and a 9.23 save percentage. Let's take a look at the playoff schedule. According to the NAHL press release just this week, the schedule is as follows. Friday and Saturday night's games will take place at 7 p.m. Alaska time. There will be a Sunday game if the Minnesota Wilderness have won both Friday and Saturday's games, or if both teams have won at least 1 game. There will not be a Sunday game if the Wolverines were able to win the first 2 games of the series. Game 3 would go down to Minnesota the following week. Tickets are available now, tickets.anchoragewolverines.com. If you have not got your tickets at this point, you need to get on that right away. And if you're not planning on buying tickets online, you need to get to the rink as early as possible. The team is expecting a sellout crowd for Game 1 of their second appearance in the Robertson Cup Playoffs. We'll have every game available for the entirety of the Anchorage Wolverines playoff run this season on NATV. You can watch myself, Danny Ramsey, both here in Anchorage or on the road next week in Minnesota if those games need to take place. Last time the Wolverines were in the playoffs, they beat the Minnesota Wilderness in 4 games en route to a Robertson Cup Finals appearance. This season, they look to do the same as well. We will see you all on Friday night for Game 1 between Anchorage and Minnesota.